President Bola Tinubu urges ECOWAS to declare theft of mineral resources as an international crime. Deadly hippopotamus attack claims life of a young farmer in Gombe State. Kebbi State government reaffirms commitment to animal health and modern ranching. Democratic Republic of Congo and M23 rebels sign a new agreement to establish a ceasefire monitoring mechanism. Hello and welcome to another edition of Security Panorama, where we keep you informed and alert. I am Juliet Omara. Let's go straight to the news. President Bola Tinubu has called on the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to designate the theft of mineral resources from the region as an international crime. He also urged global leaders to reject and prohibit trade in stolen minerals originating from West Africa. Tinubu made the call at the 2025 Annual General Assembly of the Network of Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa, held in Abuja. Represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, the President said that the asset recovery remains central to the region's anti-corruption effort. He lamented that post-independence economic and political progress in West Africa has been undermined by corruption, particularly the theft and illicit transfer of public resources abroad by corrupt officials. The president stressed that the time had come for ECOWAS to criminalize illegal mining and mineral theft, often as an international offense that threatens regional stability. Tinubu further emphasized that no single country can successfully combat illicit financial flows alone, calling for stronger collaboration through regional platforms such as NACIWA. He also reaffirmed his administration's commitment to ensuring that recovered assets are deployed to promote growth, reduce poverty, and enhance social inclusion. The federal government has assured that recent immigration reforms are not punitive, but aimed at improving migration management, national security, and investment conditions in Nigeria. The reforms include the expatriate quota reform, a new digitalized visa regime, and post-amnesty voluntary return and documentation program, PAVRDP. Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nadab, explained at a stakeholders workshop in Abuja that the changes are part of strategic efforts to streamline processes and enhance service delivery. Regarding the amnesty program, 3,500 foreigners have registered, with 142 regularizing their status and 455 choosing to exit the country without penalty. The post-amnesty phase allows remaining irregular migrants to either pay fines or leave or face penalties, including a possible re-entry ban. Nadab emphasized that the initiative is meant to encourage lawful compliance, not punishment. She also warned that aiding irregular migrants is a punishable offense and urged employers to report non-compliant expatriates. She added that immigration officers found mistreating migrants will face disciplinary actions. Moving forward, a tragic incident unfolded in the peaceful community of Dadinkowa, located in Yelmatu Deba local government area of Gombe State, as a young farmer lost his life in a deadly encounter with a wild animal. The victim, identified as a 19-year-old Yahuza Bawa, was attacked and killed by a hippopotamus while fishing along the banks of Dadinkowa River. Correspondent Imrana Suleiman Mekanti has the report.
The incident happened in the early hours of October 5th, when Yahuza and his friend Abubakar went to fish, unaware that a territorial hippopotamus was lurking beneath the waters. Locals say the animal suddenly emerged from the water, overturning their canoe and attacking the two fishermen before help could reach them. While Abubakar sustained serious injuries, Yahuza's body was later recovered after a frantic search by villagers. The news of his death threw the entire community into mourning, a young life cut short in a struggle between man and nature. Hippopotamus attacks are rare but often deadly. The giant animals are known to defend their space fiercely, especially when disturbed by fishing or farming activities around river banks. Following the incident, the Gombe State Commissioner for Water, Environment and Forest Resources, Muhammad Fawu, visited the community to condole with the family and assure residents of government intervention. He disclosed that plans are underway to establish a sanctuary city for hippopotamuses, a move aimed at protecting both humans and the endangered species. As the community of Dadinkowa continues to live by the river that sustains them, residents are now being urged to stay away from the waters until lasting safety measures are put in place. Reporting from Gombe, Imran Suleiman Mekanti, Third Eye Africa.
And still on the tragic incident, the tragic killing of a young farmer in Dadinkowa, Gombe State, following a deadly hippopotamus attack underscores the urgent challenges posed by human-wildlife conflict. In response, states like Kebbi are stepping up all effort to modernize livestock management, strengthen veterinary infrastructure, and support headers measures aimed not just at improving animal health, but also at preventing conflict and fostering peaceful coexistence. The state government says it remains committed to improving animal health services, promote modern ranching system, and supporting all genuine headers in their efforts to raise healthy animals and live in peace with their neighbors. The Kebbi State Commissioner for Animal Health, Husbandry and Fishery, Alhaji Kabiru Usman, gave the assurance at a sensitization campaign on dangers of drug abuse and revalidation of voters' card organized by Fulani Cattle Breeder Association in Brain Kebbi. Our correspondent Hayatu Bala Nasara reports.
Alhaji Kabir Usman said Kebbi State government has provided battle feed and animal drugs to the Fulani herders towards protecting the spread of contagious diseases in order to improve production of healthy animals in the state. He said livestock sector remains one of the major pillars of the state economy, providing livelihood to thousands of families, which contributed significantly to food security and economic development.
The purpose of our gathering here is to sensitize our nomadic people, that is the Fulani people in the state, concerning the importance of voters registration and also the issue of drug abuse.
In his remarks, the Birnin Kebbi Local Government Council Chairman Alhaji Dahiru Nayaya called on the members of the Miatti Allah Cattle Breeders Association to take advantage of the sensitization and share the knowledge gained with others, calling on them to continue to be ambassadors of peace wherever they found themselves.
This gathering is so impressive, and it will make Fulani people to be united, strong, and with the hope, with a prosperous Kebbi State.
Alhaji Dahiru Nayaya also called on them to shun drug abuse and ensure proper upbringing of their children. Earlier speaking, the special advisor to Kebbi State Governor on Fulani Matters, Alhaji Muhammadu Kirua, said the program was designed to enlighten cattle herders on best practices in animal rearing and peaceful coexistence, adding that it was part of ongoing efforts to educate members on issues of drug abuse, security, and sustainable grazing methods. He added that the association is also committed to complementing government's efforts towards achieving lasting peace between Fulani and farmers and improving livestock production across Kebbi State.
Ya kamata a yi sensitizing 'ya'yan Hilani game da shaye-shaye da kuma samun katin zaɓe. Domin abu ne wanda zai kawo mana.
One of the primary objectives of this sensitization exercise is to enlighten our Fulani people, especially the youth, on the dangers associated with drug abuse and any form of criminal activity. We want them to be useful members of the society. We equally thank Governor Nasir Idris for providing all necessary support for the sensitization of the all 21 local government areas of Kebbi State. Other speakers at the event were the Kebbi State Deputy Commandant of Drug Law Enforcement Agency and Public Relations Officer of Cattle Breeders Association, Mala Ibrahim Iman Abubakar Bandam, emphasized the need for understanding and collaboration among herders and farmers, as well as call on the youth to shun away from drug abuse and other forms of criminality. They also highlighted the importance of collecting and revalidating their permanent voters card for the upcoming 2027 general elections.
To enlighten our people on issues of this drug abuse, one. The second one, on the issue of voter registration. Most of the time we are left behind in the issue of this politics and even registration of that.
I am Hayatu Bala Nasarawa, reporting for South Eye Africa from Birnin Kebbi.
The House of Representatives has expressed concerns over the ongoing 2-week warning strike declared by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, describing it as a serious threat to the stability of Nigeria's higher education system and national development. This followed a motion of urgent national importance moved on Tuesday by Sesi Oluwaseun Wigan, who urged immediate legislative intervention to prevent the situation from escalating into another prolonged shutdown of academic activities. Wigan explained that strike results from unresolved issues between ASU and the federal government, including the implementation of previous agreements on university revitalization funding and academic allowances and salary structure, and also institutional autonomy. He cautioned that while the current action is termed a warning strike, similar action in the past have been snowballed into long-term crises that disrupted academic calendars, frustrated students, and stalled research and innovations. Following deliberation, the House resolved to mandate its committees on university education and labor, employment, and productivity to immediately mediate between ASU and the federal government to find a lasting and mutual acceptable resolution.
The declaration of a 2-week warning strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities over unresolved issues related to the implementation of prior arrangements with the federal government, particularly on the revitalization funding and academic allowances, salary structure, and university autonomy. The House further notes that although ASU has described the strike as a warning, such industrial actions have historically escalated into prolonged shutdowns that disrupt academic calendars, derailed research, and deepen the frustration of students, parents, and lecturers alike. The House is further aware that the Nigerian university system remains central to national development, innovation, and human capital growth, and that any disruption in its operation weakens the country's economic competitiveness, scientific advancement, and youth productivity. The House is cognizant that repeated strikes in the tertiary sector have led to students dropouts, brain drain, and loss of public confidence, thereby threatening national stability and the realization of Nigeria's long-term development goal. The House hereby resolves to mandate the leadership of the House, led by the People's Speaker, the Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, to immediately intervene between the federal government and ASU and facilitate a mutually acceptable, lasting solution to the ongoing disputes. Lastly, the House urged both parties to exercise restraint, embrace constructive dialogue, and prioritize the interests of students and national development above all other considerations. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I humbly support the motion ably moved by my dear colleague, Honorable Sesi Winger. I so second.
Those in support of this motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
While concerns are being expressed over the warning strike by ASU in the House of Representatives, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reaffirmed the Commission's resolve to ensure that Nigeria's upcoming elections are managed with credibility, transparency, and inclusivity. The acting chairman of INEC, May Abamuche Mbu, affirmed the Commission's unwavering commitment during the quarterly consultative meeting with political parties held on Tuesday at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. The meeting brought together leaders of registered political parties, national commissioners, and senior INEC officials to review ongoing electoral activities and preparation for upcoming polls. Our correspondent Irene Okechukwu brings us details.
The acting chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mrs. May Agbamuche Mbu, has reiterated the Commission's commitment to credible, transparent, and inclusive elections across Nigeria. Speaking at the quarterly consultative meeting with political parties in Abuja, she commended Nigerians for their strong response to the continuous voter registration, which began on August and runs until August 2026. Agbamuche Mbu announced that INEC successfully conducted by-elections in 12 states and is finalizing preparations for the Anambra governorship election scheduled for November 8, 2025, as well as the FCT Area Council election on February 21, 2026. She praised the immediate past chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, for his decade-long leadership and reform that strengthened Nigeria's electoral system.
Today, we acknowledge with deep appreciation his invaluable contribution not just to INEC, but to democracy across the continent. At the last quarterly meeting, the Commission announced a number of elections and electoral activities. These are the by-elections in 12 states of the Federation on the 16th of August 2025. The Anambra State Governorship election is coming up on the 8th of November 2025. The Area Council elections in the FCT on the 21st of February 2026. The Ekiti Governorship election on the 20th of June 2026. And the Osun State Governorship election on the 8th of August 2026.
She also revealed that 14 of 171 associations seeking political party registration met preliminary requirements, reaffirming INEC's resolve to uphold democracy through credible electoral processes.
Moving forward, the federal government, in collaboration with National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, and World Bank, is ramping up efforts to boost local manufacturing of malaria-related health products to reduce imports, create jobs, and improve public health security. Through the Presidential Initiative on Value Addition to the Healthcare Sector, PVAC, the government aims to increase local production of essential healthcare commodities to 70% by 2030. Key focus areas include malaria diagnostics, active pharmaceutical ingredient, rapid diagnostic tests, and bed nets. Ongoing initiatives include the establishment of a clinical trial consortium, a human capital development program, and MediPool, a pooled procurement platform backed by fiscal incentive. Recent milestones include a new rapid diagnostic test production facility in Ogun State, with more projects in the pipeline. NAFDAC reported that local production of malaria commodities has grown from 30% in 2017 to 40%, driven by regulatory reforms and industry collaboration. The agency continues to encourage domestic API production and has expanded its list of restricted imports to support local manufacturers. Still on health, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, has emphasized the urgent need for Nigeria to prioritize adolescent health as a key drive of sustainable national development. Still on health, the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Pate, has emphasized the urgent need for Nigeria to prioritize adolescent health as a key driver of sustainable national development. Speaking at a recent event, Professor Pate highlighted that adolescents make up to 20% of the global population, approximately 1.2 billion people, with 85% of them living in developing countries. He further noted that adolescents account for 23% of Nigeria's population, stressing that investing in their health and well-being is critical for the country's long-term growth and stability. Our correspondent Irene Okechukwu still brings us report.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pathe, has urged increased investment in adolescent health, describing it as vital to Nigeria's economic and social development. Speaking at a press briefing to mark the International Adolescent Health Week in Abuja, Patton noted that adolescents make up 1.2 billion of the global population, with 85% residing in developing countries. He said Nigeria's adolescents constitute 23% of its population, underscoring their critical role in shaping the nation's future. Represented by the Director of Human Resources Management, Teshoma Dafeta, the minister revealed that a dedicated budget line for adolescent health has been created to promote physical and mental well-being under the theme Thriving Inside Out. He highlighted ongoing initiatives, including the National Adolescent Health Policy, clinical protocols, and training program for health workers.
The global population of adolescents today is unprecedented, with no fewer than 1.2 billion. In fact, they constitute 20% of the world's population, with about 85% living in developing countries. Nigeria has a population of 23% adolescents. It goes without saying that to secure and sustain our future economic, social, and political progress and stability, Nigeria needs to make a strong commitment to closing the gaps in the health and development of its adolescents. Some major milestones have been achieved in this regard, worthy of mention. Structurally, the ministry has an adolescent and school health plan that responds to adolescent health programs and interventions. Currently, the ministry has a funded budget line for adolescent health development, and states that do not currently have are encouraged to establish one. The ministry has developed and implemented several adolescent health development policies, including the National Adolescent Health Policy, the Clinical Protocol on Adolescent Health and Development, guidelines and training manuals, among others. There's also the Adolescent Health Development Subcommittee, which serves as a coordination platform to biannually review adolescent health interventions and programs for improved implementation of these initiatives. The National Adolescent Health Development Training Manual is leveraged to build the capacity of frontline health workers at all levels of service delivery.
Pathe emphasized the need to end negative stereotypes about young people and include them in policy making while promoting healthy lifestyle, nutrition, and mental health awareness. Permanent Secretary Daju Kachalan, represented by Dr. Ukei Beyerim, reaffirms government commitment to addressing reproductive health, substance, and mental health uses through the RMNCAEN+ platform.
Representative and all adolescents within the country in order to make sure their voices are heard. And this we have at the level of the adolescent subcommittee that we have in the family health department. Don't forget that we have a whole branch that is addressed as adolescent and school health, meaning that all adolescents are free to relate and interact with this particular branch, which is an arm of the ministry. Beyond the family health department, the ministry also have the Department of Public Health. And in the Department of Public Health, the ministry have also, because of the desire to make sure the health needs, the mental health issues of adolescents are tackled from the root, the ministry established the National Mental Health Program.
The Federal High Court in Abuja on Tuesday dismissed an application by the Department of State Services, DSS, seeking to represent exhibit earlier rejected in the trial of former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki over alleged unlawful possession of firearms. Justice Peter Lifu, in a ruling on the DSS motion filed by its lead counsel, Oladipupo Opesheyi, held that the court could not admit the same exhibit it had previously rejected. At the last hearing on September 25th, Opesheyi had asked the court to move its proceedings to the DSS headquarters in Abuja to inspect vehicles allegedly recovered from Dasiku's residence during the 2015 executions of a search warrant. He explained that the vehicles had been parked at the DSS headquarters for 10 years and should be inspected by the court to facilitate their admission as exhibit against the defendant. However, when Justice Lifu sought clarification on the exhibit, Opesheyi said there were items numbered 18 to 28 on the search warrant, all recovered from Dasiku's home in Abuja. We're reminded that same items had been rejected and marked accordingly. The DSS counsel argued that he had the right to represent them for admission, but Dasuki's counsel, A.A. Usman, opposed the application, describing it as strange and unknown to the law. Usman argued that once an exhibit had been rejected and marked as such, it stands rejected and cannot be readmitted by the same court. Urging the court to dismiss the motion, Usman described it as baseless, ill-conceived, misplaced, unwarranted, and a ploy to turn back the hands of the clock. A notorious criminal hideout has been uncovered behind the Gombe local government shopping complex, shedding light on a long-standing hub of illicit activity that has plagued the area for years. The site, hidden in plain sight, had become a gathering point for drug users, dealers, and street gangs known for terrorizing residents and businesses in the vicinity. Correspondent Imrana Suleiman Mekanti has the details.
Residents had complained about the rising cases of theft, violence, and open drug abuse in the area. Crimes believed to be fueled by illicit substances such as tramadol, diazepam, and the locally brewed soak and dye. On Friday night, October 10, 2025, the Gombe State Police Command struck, raiding the hideout and scattering the group of hoodlums during a swift operation led by operatives of the Gombe Division. The raid brought to light how the hideout served as both a criminal shelter and a distribution point for hard drug substances that continue to drive violent crimes and moral decay among youth in the metropolis. As police intensify operations, residents are urged to stay vigilant and report suspicious movements to security agencies, a united step toward reclaiming neighborhoods from criminal gangs and drug abuse. Reporting from Gombe, Imrana Suleiman Mekanti, Third Eye Africa.
Thank you, Imrana, for that report. Coming up next is Business News with Ekene.
Thank you, Juliet, and welcome back, viewers. This is Business News, and I am Ekenem Chukwu Ojeyenem. Let's see what's trending. The Ondo State government has commenced the payment of 1.4 billion naira in gratuity arrears to local governments and primary school retirees who exited public service in 2014. The payment, flagged off in Akure, is part of the state's structured bulk gratuity settlement plan designed to gradually clear outstanding entitlements of pensioners. The initiative, which began during Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa's tenure as deputy governor, follows a systematic approach where retirees are paid based on their year of exit from service. The method is aimed at ensuring fairness, transparency, and predictability in the disbursement process. The current disbursement process covers retirees who left service in 2014, marking another phase in the ongoing efforts to reduce the backlog of unpaid gratuities. Previous payments have been made to those who retired in 2011, 2012, and 2013, a development considered unprecedented in the state's history. Since assuming office, the Aiyedatiwa's led administration has prioritized welfare of pensioners, including the approval of a flat 30,000 naira monthly support to cushion the effects of economic challenges. The state government has reiterated its commitment to continue the structured payments with plans to settle subsequent years in a phased and timely manner. Also, the International Monetary Fund has upgraded its economic growth projection for Nigeria in 2025 to 3.9%. In doing so, the fund cites stronger domestic fundamentals, improved investor confidence, and limited exposure to global trade tension. The revised forecast contained in the IMF's October 2025 World Economic Outlook titled Global Economy in Flux marks a 0.5 percentage point increase from its July projection and nearly a full percentage point above the forecast released in April. According to the IMF, Nigeria's economy is showing signs of resilience despite global uncertainties. Growth is expected to ease slightly from the 4.1% estimated for 2024, but rebound to 4.2% in 2026. The report attributes the positive outlook to a combination of factors including increased oil production, a more accommodative fiscal policy, and reforms in the energy and financial sector, which are drawing renewed capital inflows. The IMF also noted that exchange rates adjustments have improved transparency and efficiency in the foreign exchange markets. Notably, Nigeria's economy has been relatively insulated from the global tariff disputes triggered by recent U.S. trade policies, which have dampened growth in many advanced economies. Over to you, Hawa. What's trending?
Thank you, Kene. I am Hawa Umar. Now let's take a look at the major developments across the international front. Qatar says the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have signed an agreement on Tuesday in Doha to establish a ceasefire monitoring mechanism. The deal follows a ceasefire agreement that both parties signed in July at Doha. Which was aimed at leading to a permanent end to the fighting that has devastated the DRC's mineral-rich eastern region. In the new agreement, Qatar, the United States, and the African Union will participate in the mechanism as observers. Qatar described the move as a crucial step towards enhancing confidence building and moving forward to a comprehensive peace agreement. The July deal followed an earlier separate peace agreement between the Congolese and Rwandan governments signed in Washington. The M23 had insisted on seeking its own ceasefire deal with Kinshasa, saying the DRC-Rwanda deal signed in June left out issues that still needed to be addressed. Neighboring Rwanda denies providing military backing to the M23, but UN expert army played a critical role in the group's offensive, including combat operations. Moving on, the Hamas security forces are tightening their grip on Gaza's ruined city, even as global support mounted for a US-backed deal that will see them disarmed. When busloads of prisoners freed from Israeli jails arrived in Gaza on Monday, fighters from Hamas' Ezzedine al-Qassam brigades provided crowd control in the north of the territory as Israeli forces withdrew from Gaza City. Meanwhile, a Hamas security unit has been conducting operations against armed clans and gangs, some alleged to have Israeli backing. Also, in a dramatic escalation of Madagascar's political crisis, Colonel Michael Randrianirina of an elite military unit has announced that the armed forces are taking control over the country. The statement followed a parliamentary vote to impeach President Andry Rajoelina, who has reportedly fled the country amid a growing rebellion within the military. Randrianirina declared the existing government structures listed in the 2010 constitution were being dissolved in order to restore democracy and build public trust. Despite the takeover, he confirmed that the National Assembly will continue its functions. He outlined a new transitional structure which includes a joint presidency, a functioning government, and judicial reform led by the Supreme Constitutional Court. The power shift follows weeks of mass anti-government protests largely driven by Gen Z's
demonstrators demanding change. The situation reached a turning point when Randrianirina and his troops from the elite CAPSAT Unite joined the protest on Saturday. And that's it from the global scene. Margaret, it's over to you for sports updates.
Hello and welcome to the sports review. We begin from the camp of the Super Eagles. The Super Eagles of Nigeria produced a commanding performance on Tuesday night, thrashing Benin Republic 4-0 in their final Group C clash of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen was the star of the night, netting a brilliant hat-trick to silence critics and restore belief in the Nigerian camp. The victory at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium Uyo lifted Nigeria level on 17 points with Benin, but ahead on goal difference, securing a place in the CAF playoff round. Osimhen opened scoring just 3 minutes into the encounter, finishing calmly from a cross by Samuel Chukwueze. He doubled the lead in the 37th minute after linking up with Ademola Lookman before completing his hat-trick with a towering header early in the second half. Substitute Frank Oyeka put the icing on the cake in stoppage time, firing home a stunning volley to seal the emphatic victory. The win was Nigeria's biggest under coach Eric Chell, who praised his players' determination and composure after a difficult qualifying campaign. With the result, Benin's dream of qualifying for the first ever World Cup came to an end, while the Super Eagles advanced to the playoff stage, keeping their hopes alive for a 7th appearance at football's biggest stage. Nigeria will take on Gabon in the playoffs to book a spot in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Decided to sign another striker instead. The 24-year-old is expected to remain with Leverkusen for the rest of the season. And to tennis, Team Nigeria endured a disappointing outing at the ongoing ITTF African Championships after suffering heavy defeats across several events on Tuesday. All 10 Nigerian players who featured in the singles categories were knocked out, ending the country's hopes of advancing further in the competition. Both the men's and women's teams struggled against top opponents from Egypt, Tunisia, and Algeria. In the men's event, Nigeria's highest-ranked players fell short in the round of 16, while the women's representatives also lost in straight sets to stronger opponents. The defeat marked one of the team's worst collective performances in recent years. Officials expressed disappointment over the result but pledged to go back to the drawing board ahead of future international competitions. The championship continues with quarter-final matches as Egypt and Tunisia maintain dominance in both team and individual events. And that ends the sport review for today. My name is Margaret Ogumesi. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Ekene, Howard, and Margaret for bringing us top stories. But before we go, here is the recap of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu urges ECOWAS to declare theft of mineral resources as an international crime. Deadly hippopotamus attack claims life of a young farmer in Gombe State. Kebbi State government reaffirms commitment to animal health and modern ranching. Democratic Republic of Congo and M23 rebels sign a new agreement to establish a ceasefire monitoring mechanism. As always, let's play our part in building a secure and peaceful society. I am Juliet Omura. Until next time, stay safe.